Good evening. Welcome back to OpenLine. This is a special segment that we do here on the Plus called Ask a Lawyer. Tonight's guest is Kevin Kennedy. Great to have you. The number's at the bottom of the screen, 737-PLUS, 737-7587 to call with your legal questions. So what do you say we get back to the phone
Let's
lines?
do it. Hit them. All the lines are lit up, Nick.
All right, on line 4 here, I believe we got Joe. You there, Joe? Joe?
Is that Joe?
Yes, sir. How are you,
ahead.
Joe?
Okay, my wife and I live here in Tennessee. We have a deed to 5 acres of land in Arkansas, and we both have last will and testaments made out, and with our son as a sole heir and executor of the properties.
Okay.
I want to deed this land over to one or both of my grandkids. I went to a lawyer and they wanted me to sign all kinds of paperwork and questionnaires to contact a lawyer in Arkansas, and I didn't understand why, so I ignored the paperwork. Why can't a lawyer contact an attorney in Arkansas? And
I know exactly what's happening right there. Nick and I are Tennessee lawyers. We're licensed in the state of Tennessee. And Arkansas would need an Arkansas lawyer to draw that deed, one that's licensed there, and then you would actually record the deed there. You know, Tennessee lawyers can prepare that. It's some gray areas. Most lawyers only do things within their state. So that's what they're trying to do. No problem. Call a lawyer there in the same county where that is. Ask them to draw up a quick claim deed. It wouldn't be that much money. And they could actually draw it up, send it. You could sign it and mail it back to them. They can record it and send it back to you. That's recorded, and it's done.
There you go. That's the answer. Line 6 is Marilyn. Are you there, Marilyn?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead, Marilyn.
I have a quick question. A friend of mine was in an accident, and the person, he was injured. The person that hit him was on their cell phone, and that caused the injury.
Okay.
I was talking with another friend of mine, and I was saying that his lawyer said that if they can prove that that person was on their cell phone, that would strengthen their case, and he would be possibly getting more money because of that part of the negligence.
Okay.
Is that really true?
Yeah, I think so. Anytime that you can show what there was a distraction or that driver wasn't concentrating and a wreck happened, remember, in Tennessee, you got to have a duty. That's a duty to try to look after your own affairs, keep your car where it needs to be. If there's a breach of that duty and it's approximate cause of your negligence caused this and there's damage, then that's the prong test. And so, yes, I think that would really help the insurance company. If you had those records and that clearly the accident happened at this time and they're all on the phone, you've got a great argument to say they were distracted.
And, you know, I think it's important to add, too, that these cell phone companies purge these things, you know, every 90 days, some are 6 months. And so if you feel that's the case, you definitely need to get a lawyer.
Get it done now.
That's exactly
Absolutely.
right. So that information's not lost.
Early bird gets the worm. And Benjamin Franklin said that years and years ago, and that's what it really means in the law business.
No kidding.
Let us get on top of the hill first.
All right, line 1 is Jim. Are you there, Jim?
Yeah, how you doing?
Good, Jim. Go ahead.
Hey, if an individual is charged with a Class C felony in the state of Tennessee, do they automatically lose their professional license, such as in the insurance industry, or et cetera? I mean, is it their obligation to call the state on this or whoever?
Well, first off, you know, any of us can be charged with a crime. That doesn't mean that you're convicted or that you're guilty of that crime. And yes, you're not really supposed to have these licenses if you're a convicted felon. Now, there's a lot of gray areas because sometimes people don't notify. Sometimes it gets caught up later down the road. And remember, in Tennessee, we have a pre-trial and a post-trial diversion where you could actually plead guilty, but it's never entered and you're put on a post-trial status. And when that's done, you can have it expunged. And that's what this lawyer would try to do for a professional person.
That's very important. It's a great question. And every body's different. The governing body, whether it be a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, an insurance agent. So you want to make sure you fulfill all of those obligations.
And in Tennessee, you have a right to represent yourself, just like this guy got up and said, "I want to represent myself. I'm guilty. He doesn't understand the ramifications of pleading guilty. He said, "Well, I only thought I'd get a suspended." No, there's a lot of other rights that go with that.
That's exactly right. Okay, on line 2 is Joe. Good evening, Joe.
Good evening. I have a question. I work for a security company, and I've been working 5 days out the week. But 2 of them days I work with another guard. And this other guard doesn't do his job. He pretty much doesn't do nothing but sits in the truck all night and writes down what he did, but he didn't do it.
Yes.
And I'm doing all the work. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing everything what I'm supposed to do, but the other guard doesn't. The other guard takes credit for other guard's work. He sits there and gets the other guard to type up his report. I told my supervisor about what he's been doing.
Right.
And he doesn't do nothing about it. Lately, we've been having break-ins. So one night, I didn't work, and the other guard did. He didn't do his job and let the guy break in. Instead of the supervisor punishing him or letting him go because he let somebody break in, the man still has a job. The reason why he don't let him go is because the guy uses his religion to stay and keep a job. And pretty much I feel like I'm being neglected, but the supervisor's telling me I'm one of his best workers, but he's still letting this other guard do whatever he wants and let this guy break in. He takes credit for other people's work. He sits there and does nothing.
Well, the workplace many workplaces is not fair. Now, I'm always in the posture, I want you to protect yourself. If that means documenting or photographing, just to protect yourself, because usually when you've got an unscrupulous co-employee, they're going to make some false reports. And somewhere down the line, they're going to come and ask you about it, and you're not going to be a part of it. And you've already expressed that to the management. So I think you've done what you can. And that old saying, you give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves. You can count on it.
That's exactly right. Okay, let's see here. Line 3 is Dolores. Good evening, Dolores. Are you there?
Yes. On yesterday, I went to pay a credit card bill at a bank.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was paying in cash, and they said they couldn't take my cash unless they saw my driver's license. Is this a new law?
Well, it sounds more like a bank policy than it is a law. In the state of Tennessee, in America, you have a right to pay in cash. Places you can have a legitimate check, and they say, we're not going to take your check. You can have a legitimate power of attorney, and they say, we're not going to honor that power of attorney. So, many times you can still talk about that. That is a new policy. I had not heard of that before, but I can see that.
I've actually been a victim of that recently.
Really?
I went in there to deposit some cash, and it wasn't even that much.
Yeah.
It was like maybe $100 or something, and they wanted to see my driver's license. And I was an account holder, and I had that down there. But I think it's becoming actually more of an IRS tool. I think in a lot of ways.
The counterfeiting is running rampant everywhere, so they're putting on the brakes. They're trying to look at it a little harder.
So in this, we got about 45 seconds before we have to take a break. And one thing we're seeing a lot of is this time of year, drinking and driving. Do you blow? Do you not blow? What's your advice, Kevin?
Don't blow. I don't ever give. I'm a teetotaler. I don't drink at all. But if they got me and they said, Kevin, you don't even drink, I still wouldn't do it.
You see quite a few of them this time of year, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
The Christmas parties.
They're going to be sitting out there, and here you come out, and bam, you'll wish you had Kevin Kennedy as a lawyer before the night's over.
Right. So if you're still holding, stay right there. We'll try to get back to your phone calls. We're taking your phone call, 737+, and we'll be right back after this message.